I don't know if I would have believed this story had I heard it from anyone but myself. But I lived its terror with a wakefulness that hasn't allowed me a peaceful night's sleep in months. It begins like any ordinary night in a city that never sleeps, but it ends with you wandering the corridors of a human psyche you never thought capable of showing how evil can take the shape of a yellow taxi, escorting people toward their fates. I always thought danger comes from dark places, deserted corners, or faces carved by cruelty. I never imagined it could come disguised behind a warm smile and the steering wheel of an ordinary car. This is my story with Arthur, the taxi driver who took passengers to their workplaces and homes, and to their graves as well. And I am John, the only passenger who ever saw his true face and escaped. This is not just a horror story. It's a testimony to how close evil can sit beside you without you realizing, and that the thread of your life might be held by someone whose eyes show nothing but gentleness. It was around 11 o'clock on a cold Friday night in November. I just left a music concert downtown exhausted, yet somehow filled with energy. The cold wind made me raise my coat collar as my eyes scanned the never-endingly busy street, looking for anything that could take me back to my apartment in the far suburbs. I raised my hand, and in a blink, a faded yellow taxi pulled up in front of me. It was painfully ordinary, just like every other cab in the city. The driver leaned over to open the front passenger door for me, smiling warmly. "Welcome. Where are we heading tonight?" he asked in a deep, friendly voice. "Washington Street, number 245, please," I said as I moved toward the back seat. No sit up front. The back seat is a little messy." "Sorry about that," he said apologetically. I didn't think much of it and sat beside him, placing my typewriter case between my feet. I shut the door and we pulled away into the sodium-lit streets. The driver was around 50, with wavy graying hair and blue eyes that looked sincere behind his glasses. He wore a simple navy shirt and gray slacks. On the dashboard was a small photo of a smiling little girl, maybe 6 years old. "My name is Arthur," he said, extending his hand with a warm, dry grip. "John," I replied. "Concert tonight, huh?" he asked, pointing to the band sticker on my shirt. "Yeah, jazz band." "Wonderful. I love Louis Armstrong." He began singing in a rough, cheerful voice, a bit from What a Wonderful World. I laughed. He was friendly, even charming. We talked about music, then movies, then life in general. He was articulate, asking smart questions and listening attentively. I felt at ease. In a city where people treat each other like passing ghosts, such warm conversation felt rare and refreshing. But then something small, almost insignificant, shattered that comfort. As he adjusted the side mirror, I noticed deep scratches across the back of his right hand, like claw marks. And during a sharp turn, his pant legs shifted just enough to reveal the edge of a tattoo, a dark snakehead, or something like it. It didn't match his friendly schoolteacher demeanor. "Everything all right, son?" Arthur asked as though he sensed my shift in mood. Yes. Just thinking about work tomorrow," I lied quickly. He smiled and nodded. Work. Everyone's chasing a living and forgets to enjoy life." And then in a lighter tone, "But don't worry, we'll get you home safe, God willing." The trip normally took 40 minutes, but soon I noticed we were on a different route, a darker, emptier one. I said nothing at first. Maybe there was traffic or road work. "Arthur, I think the Northern Boulevard is quicker," I said casually. "Oh, I know, but there's construction tonight. This detour is fine, maybe just a few extra minutes," he replied. I looked outside. We were now in a semi-abandoned industrial zone, warehouses lining both sides like concrete tombs. No streetlights, only the car's headlights slicing through the thick darkness. My heartbeat quickened. "Don't be paranoid, John," I told myself. But then I heard a small click. Arthur had already locked the doors at the start, like any driver might, but this was a second lock, a reinforcement. I glanced at the door beside me and noticed the tiny red indicator glowing. He'd locked the doors again. For what? "Cold night, isn't it?" Arthur suddenly said, still sounding friendly, but I no longer heard him the same way. Nice to be somewhere warm. I turned to him. His smile remained, but his eyes weren't smiling. There was a cold, sharp glint in them. The kind of gaze a butcher gives a carcass. I think I'll get out here, I said, trying to sound firm. I can call an Uber. Oh, can't leave you here, John. This is a dangerous area. No one walks here at night, he said, shaking his head. His tone said, "You're not going anywhere." My palms were sweating. Darkness outside or danger inside, pick your poison. Then I noticed something shiny on the floor near my feet. I leaned down carefully. A silver necklace, engraved with the name Sarah, and near it, a dark stain on the carpet. Hard to see in the dim light, but when I touched it, sticky, like dried blood. I knew then. Knew with absolute certainty I was not the first to sit here, and those before me didn't have happy endings. Beautiful, isn't it? Arthur suddenly said, snatching the necklace from my hand in a movement too quick to follow. A souvenir from a previous passenger. I swallowed hard. What did you do to her? He chuckled low and chilling. Don't worry, John. Sarah was special, like you're special. I like special passengers. They have lives, dreams, stories. Makes the keepsakes more valuable. He spoke about murder like it was stamp collecting. You're that driver? The one from the news? The one wanted for all those disappearances? Newspapers exaggerate, he shrugged. They don't understand art, the art of final farewells. His hand drifted toward the glove compartment. A glint of metal, a small knife. I had to stall him. Your daughter? I asked, pointing at the photo. She's yours? His hand froze. He gently touched the picture. Yes, Emma. She would have been 7 now. Would have been. Pain flickered across his face. Cancer. Little dolls shouldn't die. I'm sorry. Don't be, he said, voice turning cold again. Death is part of life. Everyone dies. I just help some taste it sooner. Like an artist. I am an artist, John. He spoke about killing as if it were a mercy. A craft. He was insane, dangerously so. Why? I whispered. Why? He repeated as he drove onto a dirt road leading to a huge abandoned warehouse. Because the world is unfair. Because my only child was taken from me. Because people breathe and walk without deserving it. Because I'm good at this. He stopped the car, turned off the engine. Silence. Only our breaths remained. Now, John, he said, lifting the knife fully into view, a large hunting blade. It'll be quick if you don't fight. I looked into his eyes, not a trace of humanity. Dead fish eyes. Wait! I shouted, grabbing my heavy bag and smashing it into the side of his head. He staggered. I lunged for the keys, but he seized my wrist with terrifying strength. Big mistake, John, he roared. Pain shot through my bones. Then I felt a sharp prick in my neck. A syringe. The world blurred. My limbs turned to stone. Don't worry, he whispered. I'll keep a souvenir of you too. I woke tied to a chair in the center of the warehouse. The smell of mold, dust, chlorine. The car headlights still on, illuminating everything like a macabre stage. Arthur stood before me, now wearing only trousers and a black plastic apron. Around us, a horror museum, cabinets draped in plastic, metal drawers, walls lined with souvenirs, wallets, phones, watches, eyeglasses, even tied locks of hair, each with a neatly handwritten tag. He hummed Armstrong again as he arranged his tools. What are you going to do to me? I croaked. Oh, you're awake. Good. He lifted a video camera. I like them conscious at first. Makes the footage more authentic. He filmed me. Tonight we have John, an aspiring writer. Jazz lover, 28 years old. Say hello, John. I spat at him. He wiped his cheek calmly. A fighter. I like that. Then he picked up a curved blade. My favorite. Makes very clean cuts. He stepped closer. I searched desperately for anything, any weakness. The chair was old, rusted. If I could... Why do you record this? I asked, stalling. For the memories, of course, to watch later. Every moment is precious. He approached, seconds left. I gathered every ounce of strength and tipped the chair violently, crashing us to the floor. Pain flared, but I heard metal crack. One joint had loosened. Arthur knelt beside me. Useless resistance. But the fall had moved the sharp edge close to my wrist. I scraped the ropes against it. He noticed. "What are you?" A dog barked outside, then car doors, voices. "Police." Arthur froze, listening, his face twisted with anger. The ropes snapped on my right wrist. I struck his throat, making him stumble. He grabbed the knife again. "You ruined everything!" He leapt. I caught his arm and twisted a bone cracked. He screamed, dropped the knife, but grabbed my neck with his other hand and squeezed. The world dimmed. I flailed fingers brushing the knife's handle. With my last strength, I stabbed him in the side. He howled, loosened his grip. I crawled away, freeing my legs. The warehouse doors burst open. "Police! Hands up!" Arthur, bloody knife in hand, stood between us. He looked at them, then at me. "You were meant to die tonight, John," he whispered. He charged. 2 shots rang out. He froze, looked at the blooming red on his chest, collapsed. Officers rushed toward me, cutting my ropes. "You all right, son?" an older officer asked. I could only point to Arthur and the wall of souvenirs. There. So many. Everything blurred after. Ambulances, lights, questions. A truck driver had spotted the faint light inside the warehouse and heard noises. His suspicion saved me by minutes. Fear, it's guilt, because I survived, while so many didn't. And because I now know evil isn't always fangs and claws. Sometimes it's a friendly man behind a steering wheel, singing Louis Armstrong while driving you to your doom. So when I walk at night and see a yellow taxi, I remember. And I remember that life is fragile. Trust is a dangerous gift, and sometimes fatal. I wish I'd never gotten into that cab. But I did. And one day you might too. So pay attention to whose hands you place your life in.